Welcome to Regah Bivrit. My name is Rabbi Yitzchak Shapira. I'm so glad you're joining us to this very special double portion of Regah Bivrit. This Shabbat we are in a double portion that seems to not be connected at all to each other. The first portion, Parashat Tazria, conception. The Hebrew word zera means sperm or the conception of a child. And in the second portion, Parashat Metsora, talking about the Torah of the leper. Now, before we start to discuss the connection between those two portions, it's important to understand something about the leper in general. The leper, who is called in Hebrew Metzora, like the word Machia'h, bring off evil, usually related to a person who speak evil tongue, Machia'h, to bring out Ra, evil. He is one of the names of the Messiah in Judaism. Now, today I want to look at that because the rabbi connected the Metzora to one other name of the Messiah, as recorded in Isaiah chapter 53, who is called Nagua. Nagua, one who has been afflicted. The Nagua, the Nega, is the disease that is usually come from Tzara'at, the leprosy. Now, it's important to understand the connection in this portion between Metzora, the leper, to Tazria, the conception. Let's look at a few details so that you will be able to connect these two portions together and understand the connection. At the beginning of portion chapter 12, Tazria, it says, verse 2, Daber el bnei Israel לאמור, אישה כי תזריע וילדה זכר וטמאה 7 ימים כימי נידת דותה תטמא. Now, I want you to notice a few things about this particular verse. It says that the Lord speaks to the children of Israel about a woman who is to be conceiving, and she gave a birth to a male child. Now, you're going to notice that there's a different words to describe this person that is born. This person here in the beginning of the portion is known by the name Zachar. Zachar, it's interesting, it means male, but the word Zachar also means to remember. To remember. Now, notice what's happened to the woman for the very first 8 days of the birth of the son. It says, Hu bayom hashmini, on the 8th day, imol basar arlato. In Judaism, the 8th day represents the day that the child receives an identity on the house of Israel. That's the day, of course, of circumcision. The question should be, throughout this story, who is the woman and who is this child? Now, we're going to answer that, but in generally speaking, the midrashic or the homiletic understanding is that the child is none other than the Messiah, and the woman is Israel itself, because only then, for the next 30 days after the birth, the woman starts to be healed. When is the woman becoming healed? The woman becoming healed only when this Zachar receiving a new name inside of Israel. When will Israel be healed? Only when Messiah receive a name inside the house of Israel. Now, in the next chapter, we are seeing something interesting. It says, and God spoke to Moshe, וידבר אדוני אל משה ואל עמו לאמור, אדם כי יהיה באור בשרו, שאת או ספחת או בהרת, והיה באור בשרו. Nega, tzarat. It is speaking immediately about a man, but here, pay attention, is not called Zachar, is called Adam. Zachar is the one that is born, that is yet to have his full identity in the house of Israel. But here we are talking about a leper who is himself to have some sort of affliction, like a leprosy upon him. And the question, who is this man? The rabbis explain to us that the Torah zoom in on those 8 days that are leading to his receiving a name in the house of Israel. During those 8 days, when he doesn't have a name in Israel, yes, he is like a leper. Until he is being accepted and being received by the community, he is like the Metsora. And that's important to understand, that the Messiah, according to the book of Hebrew, is called a Metsora, who is outside the camp. Now, is the Messiah truly a leper? That's an important question to understand. He is called here in the text Adam, which is an acronym for Aleph, Dalet, and Mem. Adam, David, Machia'h. He is the Messiah. Every time you see the word Adam, it's related to the Messiah. So it's a picture of the Messiah process of being cleansed. So is the Messiah truly a leper? I want you to think about the words of the book of Corinthians. The book of Corinthians say he became sin. He doesn't say that he is a sinner. It's rather say he became sin. Now, in the beginning of Parashat Metzora, we read the following: וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, זאת תהיה תורת המצורע ביום טהרתו. This will be the Torah of the leper in the day of his cleansing. The question is already, was he already cleansed? Was he already clean before this day? And the answer is yes. He is already clean. He is already cleansed from his blemishes. But it is the Kohen, and here it says, Vehuva el HaKohen. This is important to understand a little bit of the Hebrew grammar. He doesn't say in the text, Uba el HaKohen. It rather says, Vehuva el HaKohen. You see, they have the same prefix, ba, huva, which is bet and aleph. But what the difference between saying huva to say ba? When it says ba, it's meaning he is coming on his own way, on his own strength, on his own power to the Kohen. But when he says vehuva, it actually means that he coming through somebody who is carrying it. Now think about the book of Hebrew. What it says, come, let us go outside the camp and bring him in. Because the Kohen have to say he is cleansed. Well, who is the Kohen? Israel called Mamlechet Kohanim and Goy Kadosh. Israel is the one called Mamlechet Kohanim. So he has been cleansed. People ask me, are you saying Messiah today is a leper? No, what I am saying is been cleansed immediately. Yeshua went and became a leper for the sins of humanity. That represents the 7th day. Toward the 8th day, he immediately been cleansed. When Yeshua went up to the heavens, he became cleansed. But for Israel, he's not yet cleansed in the eyes of Israel. That's why I say beyom taharato. Tahora is something that you do outside. Kedusha is something that is inside. Let me explain it again. To be kadosh, it's something that represents our internality. But tohara is something that is represent the externality. It's not that Yeshua is not cleansed. He's been cleansed for 2,000 years. He is kadosh, but it needs to become tahor. And the only way he becoming ta'or is when it says, V'yatsa ha'kohen el mechutz lamachaneh. And he saw that he was healed. The Kohen went to the edge of the camp because he cannot really fully leave the camp. And he had to say, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. That is important to understand it. In Jewish wedding, we say, Harei at mekudeshet li kedat Moshe ve'Yisrael. The Kala is already Tehora on the outside, it's beautiful, but we also declare the Kedusha upon her. So this is something that we have to understand, that the Tohara and the Kedusha are not the same. Yeshua is Kadosh, he was Kadosh when he went up to his heavenly Father. But what he is lacking today is the Tohara, and the Tohara can come only from the house of Israel. So on the 8th day, we have to come closer to this 8th day quickly, to the day that we truly sanctify his name by saying Tahor. That means absolving him, not just in the inside, but removing all the klipot, all the husks that associated with his name for the last 2,000 years. This is the Regah Bivrit for this week. Let us get quickly to this 8th day, and quickly let us say to him, you are not only Kadosh, because you've been cleansed for the last 2,000 years, but you are also Tahor. So let's clean on the outside his name today. Shalom, everybody.